everybody, Neil with 21st Century Equipment. Today we are working with a John Deere 4044M and a 400E loader. We're going to talk about daily maintenance. A couple of common questions that come up around daily maintenance is, when should I be greasing the pins and where are they located? The where is pretty straightforward. They're located primarily here on the loader. There are 6 per side, and these are what I would consider daily grease points. 2 here, 2 located here in the middle of the loader, and then finally 2 more down here on the coupler of the loader. There are 6 more on the other side, so a total of 12 daily grease points on this loader. So let's talk about the when. And again, that's often a, should I do it in the morning? Should I do it at the end of the day? That's really a personal preference question. I prefer to do it at the end of the day or at the end of the task that I'm doing. So if I'm moving hay bales around or if I'm scooping manure and I'm going to be doing that for a few hours, when I get done, before I turn the machine off and go into the house, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to grease these. The reason for that is there's heat that builds up just naturally as these joints are pivoting, and I like them to be a little bit warm because it helps them to accept the grease a little bit easier. And that's really important out here in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming when we start getting into some of those colder temperatures. Now, I've taken the time just while we're sitting here and I wiped off the end of this grease zerk. I went ahead and wiped off the end of this grease zerk so that I make sure I'm not pumping grit and grime into the joint. I want to minimize that as much as possible. And when it comes to grease guns, there's a couple of options. I like to refer to this as kind of the old faithful. You might already have one of these in your workbench or in your toolbox, and that's great. Check with your local 21st Century Equipment parts department to make sure you've got the right grease for your machine. Another option that's growing more and more in popularity is one of these battery-powered grease guns. Don't worry, this one happens to be a Milwaukee, but they're available in all the colors, so whatever battery system you already committed to in your workshop, you can get one that'll work for you. And with this already cleaned off, I can just go ahead here and remove the hose. And in this case, I've got a little extra on there, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off, make sure the end of my grease gun is clean. Just plug it onto there, and that snaps into place. It's not locked on, but it is kind of locked on. So I'll go ahead and just pull the trigger. Couple of pumps, and I'm just going to look up here in the top, and I'm watching to see if I see any grease getting pushed out of the unit. Yep, and there's some grease getting pushed out. It doesn't take much to keep these well greased. And of course, one of the questions that often comes up is, well, do I need to really do it every day? My recommendation to you is that grease is inexpensive insurance. I would rather spend an extra few dollars on a few tubes of grease instead of having one of these pins wear out prematurely because I didn't grease it often enough. Another area of daily maintenance, something we're going to check every time we go to operate this machine, is over here on the right side of the tractor, and that is the engine dipstick. I'm just going to kneel down so I get a better angle on it, but it is easy to access. I don't need to do anything special with the loader. Easy to get to it. Go ahead and pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, get a measurement of the oil, check, make sure it's at the right level, and then go ahead and pop it back in. In addition, while we're here, not an area of daily maintenance, but this is the engine oil filter right next to the dipstick, so easy to reach when it comes time if you want to do your own maintenance. The other area we want to look at is this fuel water separator. Now you'll notice that this fuel water separator has a ring inside of it, and if this separator starts to fill with water and gets water in it, that ring will actually rise up to give us a good visual representation of how much sediment and water might be in our fuel. If we get water in this separator, just go ahead and reach up, turn off the fuel here. Then I can go ahead and open this drain valve on the bottom to let that water and sediment out. Of course, we want to make sure we've got a container here to catch it and dispose of that contaminated fuel properly. Then go ahead and flip it back to on and start operating the tractor. In addition, if you're ever not sure about a maintenance schedule, go ahead and take the time and pop open your hood. You'll notice right under here is a periodic service schedule. in the form of a sticker underneath the hood. In addition, all of that information is in your owner's manual as well. Just look for the maintenance section in the index and you can find all the information you need there. Now, I mentioned the oil filter earlier just as a point of reference. The air filter here also as a point of reference. If you need filters because you want to do your own maintenance, come on into your local 21st Century Equipment location, touch base with our parts department. They'll make sure you have the right parts to do the job. In addition, if you would prefer to pay someone to do that service for you, come on in and talk to our service department. We can get you scheduled in and take care of that maintenance for you. As well, you can actually prepay for maintenance to make sure that even in the future, you've got your maintenance plans covered.